The homeless man stood silently as the millionaire ripped up his contract in front of everyone. But when an old employee recognized the name on that paper, the room froze, and no one dared to breathe. Subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and comment where in the world you're watching from, because now I'm going to tell you everything. Who let you in here? The voice was not loud, but it was hard and cold. It came from behind a desk so big it looked like a small boat. The man in the chair did not smile. The boy in the doorway jumped a little. His name was Leo. He held a folded paper in both hands. His sneakers, with holes near the toes, were quiet on the thick carpet. He did not answer the question. "I asked you a question," the man said. He was Max Carter. He did not like messes. He did not like surprises. A boy with a dirty shirt was both. "This is a private floor. How did you get past the front desk?" Leo took a small step forward. He looked at the huge windows behind the man. He could see all of New York City. The buildings looked like giant toys. He looked back at the man's sharp blue eyes. He held out the paper. "This is for you," Leo said. His voice was very small. Max Carter did not move. He looked at the boy's torn sleeve. He looked at the smudge on his cheek. He felt a hot anger in his chest. This was his perfect office. Everything was clean and in its place. This boy was a stain. "I do not take things from street kids," Max said, each word like a chip of ice. "Get out. Now." Leo's arms were still holding out the paper. He was shaking. "Please, it's important. It's about my grandpa." "I don't care," Max said. He stood up suddenly. He was a tall man. He walked around the desk and snatched the paper from Leo's hands. "Your grandpa isn't here. No one is here for you." Max did not even look at the paper. He held it by one corner between his thumb and finger, like it was something dirty. With his other hand, he grabbed it and pulled. Rip! The sound was loud in the quiet room. Leo flinched. Max ripped the paper again and again. He tore it into many, many pieces. He let them go. The pieces fluttered down onto the clean gray carpet. They lay there like strange white leaves. "Now," Max said, pointing to the door. His face was calm, but his eyes were furious. "Get out before I call security, and take your trash with you." Leo did not look at the man. He looked at the pieces of paper on the floor. His paper, the last thing he had. His eyes filled with water, but he blinked hard. He did not cry. He just turned around and walked slowly out of the office. He did not pick up the pieces. Max watched him go. He smoothed his silver hair. He straightened his perfect tie. He pressed a button on his phone. "Janet, there was a vagrant child on my floor. Find out who let him up. Fire them." He sat back down. He looked at the torn paper on his floor. A little mess. He would have someone clean it. He turned to his computer, already forgetting the boy. Outside in the long, quiet hallway, an old man was pushing a cleaning cart. His name was Joe. He had seen the small boy walk into Mr. Carter's office. He had kept on polishing the brass handles on the doors, his ears listening. He heard the hard voice. He heard the ripping sound. Then he saw the boy come out. The boy's head was down. His small shoulders were slumped. Joe saw the shine of tears on his cheeks before the boy wiped them away with a dirty sleeve. The boy walked past him, not seeing anything. He went to the elevator and pressed the button. He waited, staring at his broken shoes. Joe's heart felt heavy. He looked at the open door of Mr. Carter's office. He pushed his cart quietly toward it. He took his broom and dustpan from the cart. He went inside. Max Carter was typing at his computer. He did not look up. "Clean that up," he said without turning around. Joe did not answer. He began to sweep. He bent his stiff knees and carefully swept the pieces of paper into his dustpan. He was about to empty them into the trash bag on his cart when he stopped. One piece of paper, a little bigger than the others, had writing on it. A name. Joe's old eyes looked closer. He saw the letters, Leonardgray. Joe's breath caught in his throat. His hands, which were always steady, began to shake. He dropped the piece of paper. It fell back into the dustpan with the others. Leonard Gray, his friend. The man who built this building. The man who gave Joe a job when he had nothing 40 years ago. The man who was like a brother. Joe's head snapped up. He looked out the door down the empty hall where the small boy had gone. Leonard's grandson. The boy who disappeared after the terrible accident. Everyone thought he was gone forever, but he was here. He had come home, and Max Carter had torn up his paper and thrown him out. Joe's gentle face changed. It became hard and sure. He carefully poured all the paper pieces from the dustpan into his hand. He closed his fingers around them tightly. He had to put this back together. He had to know what the paper said. He gave one last look at Max Carter's back. The man was still typing, thinking his world was safe and in order. Joe knew different. Everything was about to change. He walked out of the office, the secret held safe in his old calloused hand. Joe's hands did not stop shaking as he pushed his cleaning cart into the service elevator. He pressed the button for the basement. The doors closed, leaving him alone with the hum of the motor and the crumpled pieces of paper in his fist. The basement was quiet and cool. It was his space. There was a small room with a table and a chair where he took his breaks. Joe went in and closed the door. He turned on the single bright light overhead. He carefully placed every piece of the torn paper on the old wooden table. He took a deep breath. His fingers, though rough and stained, were careful. He began to move the pieces around, turning them right side up. He looked for edges that matched. He worked slowly, his heart beating fast in his chest. One piece had a big official stamp. Another had the words "Last Will and Testament." Joe's throat felt tight. He kept working. The picture of the document started to form. After many minutes, it was done. The contract was put back together like a puzzle. Joe leaned over the table, his eyes moving across the words. He read them once, then he read them again, very slowly to be sure. The paper said that upon the death of Leonard James Gray, all of his property and business holdings were to go to his only direct descendant, his grandson, Leo James Gray. It named Leo. It was signed by Leonard Gray himself. The date was more than 10 years ago. Joe put a hand on the table to steady himself. It was true. The small, scared boy with the hole in his shoe was Leonard's grandson. He was the owner of everything, the whole building, the company called Carter Holdings, all of the money. "Oh, Leonard," Joe whispered to the empty room. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't know he was still out there." He thought of Max Carter upstairs in his big office. Max, who had started working for Leonard many years ago. Max, who had taken over the company so quickly after Leonard's death. Max, who always said he had built it all from nothing. Joe knew the truth now. Max was a thief. He had stolen a dead man's life's work. And today, he had tried to throw the true owner out into the street. A fire Joe had not felt in many years lit inside him. He was not just a janitor. He was Leonard Gray's friend, and he had failed his friend by letting this happen. He would not fail Leo. Just then, the old clock on the wall chimed. It was 3 o'clock. Joe's eyes widened. The big board meeting. Max had a meeting with all the important people from the company at 3 o'clock. They would all be in the conference room right now. Joe acted without thinking. He carefully lifted the pieced-together contract. He did not want it to fall apart. He looked around and saw a clear plastic sleeve he used for his work schedules. He gently slid the paper inside. The plastic held all the pieces flat and together. He held the plastic sleeve tight. He walked out of the break room. His steps were fast and sure as he marched back to the elevator. He pressed the button for the top floor, where the conference room was. The elevator ride felt very long. Joe looked at the contract in his hands. He saw Leo's name. He thought of the boy's sad, quiet face. The doors opened. Joe could hear voices coming from down the hall. Deep voices talking about money and buildings. Max Carter's voice was the loudest. Joe walked straight to the big wooden doors of the conference room. He did not knock. He pushed them open. Everyone around the long table stopped talking. 20 men and women in expensive suits turned to look at him. They saw an old man in gray work clothes holding a piece of plastic. At the head of the table, Max Carter's smile vanished. His eyes turned from confused to angry. "Joe," Max said, his voice low and warning. "This is a private meeting. Get out." Joe did not move. He held the plastic sleeve high above his head so everyone could see the torn paper inside. "You made a huge mistake today, Max," Joe said. His voice was strong and clear. It filled the quiet room. "The boy you threw out? His name is Leo Gray. He is Leonard's grandson. This is his." Max Carter's face lost all its color. It became as white as the paper in Joe's hand. The silence in the room was complete. No one moved. All the board members stared at the old janitor holding the shredded document. A woman at the table, Miss Jenkins from legal, was the first to speak. Her voice was a whisper. Gray. Did he say Leo Gray? Max Carter slammed his hand on the table. The sound made everyone jump. This is nonsense, he shouted. His face was still pale, but his eyes were wild. This man is confused. That was a fake paper from a street child trying to scam us. Joe did not lower his arm. He looked at the people around the table. You all knew Leonard Gray. You worked for him. Look at this signature. You know it is his. Give me that, Max demanded, standing up. He reached across the table. Joe took a step back. No, you already tore it up once. You don't get to touch it again. A man named Mr. Peters, who had been with the company the longest, stood up slowly. Joe, let me see it, please. Joe looked at Mr. Peters. He trusted him. He walked over and carefully placed the plastic sleeve on the table in front of him. Mr. Peters put on his glasses. He leaned close. He looked at the signature for a long time. He read the words. When he looked up, his face was sad and serious. He looked at Max Carter. This is Leonard's signature. This document is real. The room erupted into voices. Is it true? The boy is alive? Max, what is this? Max shook his head. He pointed a finger at Joe. He is lying. He put this together with the boy to steal my company. Joe looked straight at Max. You never built this company. You stole it from Leonard. After he died, you changed papers. You told lies. You made everyone think it was yours, but it was never yours. It belongs to his grandson. The truth hung in the air, heavy and clear. The board members looked from Joe's steady face to Max's panicked one. They began to understand. Miss Jenkins spoke again, louder now. If this is a valid will, and the heir is a minor child, then Max, you have been acting as the owner without any legal right, for years. Max felt the walls closing in. He saw the doubt and anger on their faces. His perfect life was cracking apart. He thought of jail. He saw handcuffs. He had to fix this. He had to make it stop. Everyone calm down, Max said, forcing his voice to be smooth. He sat back down, trying to look in control. This is clearly a complex legal matter. We should not jump to conclusions. We need to have our lawyers examine this thing. And we need to find that boy to ask him some questions. He looked at Joe with cold eyes. Where is he, Joe? Where is the boy? I don't know, Joe said. It was the truth. He had seen Leo leave, but he did not know where he went. You're hiding him, Max said. I found him 10 minutes ago, Joe replied. You threw him out. He could be anywhere in this city. Max stood up again. This meeting is over. Everyone, please leave. I will handle this. The board members were hesitant. They whispered to each other as they gathered their things and filed out of the room. Mr. Peters gave Joe a long look before he left. Soon it was just Max and Joe in the big empty conference room. Max walked over to Joe. He spoke very quietly so no one else could hear. You are a fool, old man. You have just ruined your life, and that boy's life. Give me the contract. No, Joe said. Then I will find him myself, Max hissed. And when I do, I will get that paper. And then both of you will disappear for good. Do you understand? You are nothing, a janitor, and he is a nobody. I will crush you. Joe did not look away. You are the one who is scared, Max. I am not. Max turned and walked out of the room, his steps loud and angry. Joe listened to the sound fade away. He looked down at the contract in the plastic sleeve. He had to find Leo first. He had to find the boy before Max's men did. The boy was not a nobody. He was Leonard's grandson, and Joe was all he had. Joe did not go back to the basement. He walked straight out of the building's front doors, the plastic sleeve with the contract tucked inside his work jacket. The afternoon sun was bright. People in nice clothes walked quickly past him. He had to think. Where would a scared, alone boy go? Leo had nothing, no money. He came to the building because it was his last hope. Now that hope was broken. Joe stood on the busy sidewalk. He remembered the look in Leo's eyes. It was not just sadness. It was a deep tiredness, the tiredness of someone with no place to go. Joe knew that feeling. He had seen it in other faces long ago after the war. He started walking. He did not know where he was going, but his feet led him away from the shiny buildings. He walked for many blocks. The neighborhoods changed. The buildings became smaller and older. He was in Brooklyn. He saw a small corner store. He went inside. An old woman was behind the counter. "Excuse me," Joe said. "I'm looking for a boy. About 9 years old, brown hair. His clothes are too big. He might look lost." The woman shook her head. "Many kids come in here. I do not remember one like that." Joe thanked her and left. He asked at a laundromat. He asked a man fixing a car. No one had seen Leo. The sun was getting lower in the sky. Joe felt a cold fear. Max's men could be looking right now. They had cars. They had money to pay people for information. Joe had only his old legs and his worry. He turned down a quiet street with tall, old apartment buildings. The trash cans were full. A few windows were broken. In a small alley between two buildings, he saw movement. He stopped and looked. Behind a dumpster, a small, thin dog was eating from a torn bag. The dog was brown and white, and sitting right next to the dog with his knees pulled up to his chest was Leo. The boy was staring at the ground. The dog stopped eating and looked at Joe. It gave a soft asterisk, woof asterisk, not mean, just a warning. Leo looked up. His eyes were wide and scared. When he saw Joe, he recognized him. He was the old man from the hallway. Leo shrank back against the wall. "Leo," Joe said softly. He did not move closer. "My name is Joe. I worked for your grandfather, Leonard Gray." Leo's breath hitched. He said nothing. "I was there today," Joe continued. "I saw what that man did to your paper. I picked up the pieces. I put it back together." Slowly, Joe reached into his jacket. He pulled out the plastic sleeve. He held it so Leo could see. "This is yours. It says this company. All of it belongs to you. Your grandfather wanted you to have it." Leo stared at the paper. His eyes filled with tears again. He shook his head. "He tore it up," Leo whispered. His voice was so quiet, Joe almost didn't hear it. "I know he did," Joe said. "But that doesn't make it less true. The man in that office, Max Carter, he stole this from your grandfather. He is a thief. And now he is scared because he knows you are the real owner." The dog Buddy walked over and leaned against Leo. Leo put a hand on the dog's head. "He wants to find you, Leo," Joe said, his voice serious. "He wants to take this paper and make you go away. He is a dangerous man. You are not safe here." "Buddy is my friend," Leo said, still whispering. "I can see that," Joe said. "He is a good friend. He can come with us." "Where?" Leo asked. "To a safe place. A place Max Carter will not look. I promise I will not let him hurt you. I promised your grandfather I would look after his family. I did not know about you before, but I know now." Leo looked at Joe's face for a long time. He looked at his kind eyes and his old honest face. He looked down at Buddy, who licked his hand. "Okay," Leo said. He stood up. Buddy stood right beside him. Joe let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. "We must go now, and we must be very careful." He led Leo out of the alley. The boy stayed close to him, one hand on Buddy's back. Joe knew a place. An old friend from his army days had a small garage in Queens. It was far away. It was not much, but it was safe. As they walked to the subway station, Joe kept looking over his shoulder. He knew the hunt had already begun. He had found Leo first, but the race was not over. Max Carter's office was dark. It was past 7 o'clock in the evening. Everyone else had gone home. He sat at his desk, not moving. His plan to find the boy himself had failed. His men had searched the streets around the building and found nothing. The old janitor and the boy were gone. Max picked up his phone. He pressed a single button. A man's voice answered after 2 rings. "Captain Miller." "Tom, it's Max Carter. I need your help with a very sensitive matter." "Of course, Mr. Carter. What's the problem?" Max made his voice sound heavy with worry. "It's about that boy, Leo Gray. You may have heard some wild rumors today at my company." "I heard some noise," the captain said carefully. "Well, the truth is terrible," Max said. "An employee of mine, an older janitor named Joe Miller, has become confused. He became obsessed with the boy after he wandered into our building today. He believes some old fairy tale about the boy being rich. Now Joe has taken him. I believe he kidnapped Leo." There was a pause on the other end of the line. "Kidnapped? Do you have proof of that, sir?" "He was seen leaving the building with the boy. The boy did not want to go. He looked frightened. Joe has not returned to work and the boy is missing. His safety is my greatest concern. He has no family. I feel responsible. Max could hear the captain writing things down. Describe them, please. Joe Miller is 78 years old, white hair, thin. He wears gray work clothes. The boy is 9, small, brown hair, hazel eyes. He was wearing torn clothing, and there is a dog with them, a small, brown and white stray mutt. And you believe this Joe Miller is a danger to the child? I do, Max said, his voice full of false sadness. The man is not stable. He thinks he is saving the boy from some imaginary danger. He could do anything. We need to find them quickly for the child's own good. We will issue an Amber Alert, Captain Miller said. We will put their pictures on the news. We will find them, Mr. Carter. Thank you, Tom. Please keep me updated every step of the way. Max hung up the phone. A thin, cold smile touched his lips. Now the police would hunt for Joe and Leo. Everyone would see Joe as a crazy old kidnapper. No one would listen to his story about a contract. And when the police found them, they would take the boy into custody. Then, Max could step in. He could offer to take care of poor, orphaned Leo, and he would get the contract back. In the small room above the garage in Queens, Joe was making sandwiches. Leo sat on an old couch with Buddy beside him. The room was warm and safe. Joe's friend, Mr. Rivera, had brought them blankets and food. You should try to sleep, Leo, Joe said, handing him a plate. Leo took the plate. He was about to speak when Mr. Rivera came back upstairs. His face was serious. He was holding a small portable television. He plugged it in and turned it on. Joe, Mr. Rivera said, you need to see this. The screen showed the local news. A woman reporter was speaking seriously. An Amber Alert has been issued for 9-year-old Leo Gray, who was allegedly taken from Midtown Manhattan earlier today. Police are searching for this man, Joseph Miller, a janitor, who is believed to have kidnapped the child. Miller may be accompanied by a small, mixed-breed dog. Authorities say Miller may be emotionally unstable and should not be approached. If you see them, call this number immediately. Pictures filled the screen. A grainy photo of Joe from his company ID badge, and next to it, a clear, color picture of Leo. It was the same picture Max had on his computer. Leo stared at his own face on the television. Joe felt the room spin. Kidnapped, he whispered. They say you are dangerous, Mr. Rivera said, his voice low. They say the boy is not safe with you. Leo looked from the TV to Joe. His eyes were huge with fear. They think you are bad? No, Leo, Joe said, kneeling in front of him. This is Max Carter's lie. He told the police this story so they would hunt for us, so no one would believe us, so they would take you away and give you to him. Buddy whined and pushed his head into Leo's lap. What do we do? Leo asked, his voice trembling. We stay here, Joe said. We cannot go outside now. Everyone in the city is looking for us. They will see us. He looked at the television. His own face was still on the screen. He was a kidnapper, a monster. Max had turned the whole city against them with one phone call. Their safe place had just become a prison. The Carter apartment was silent except for the low sound of the television. Stacy Carter sat on the huge white sofa pretending to read a book. Her father, Max, was pacing near the windows, talking on his phone. His back was to her. No, I don't know where they are, he said into the phone, his voice tight. That's your job. Find them. The old man and the boy. He has something that belongs to me. It is very, very important. Stacy slowly looked up from her book. Her father's voice was strange. It was not his normal, calm business voice. It was angry and a little scared. He listened for a moment, then his voice dropped. Just make the problem go away. However you have to do it. Do you understand? A cold feeling settled in Stacy's stomach. Asterisk. Make the problem go away. She had heard him use those words before, about business deals, but now he was talking about an old man and a boy. The boy from the news. Max hung up the phone. He stood very still, staring out at the city lights. Then he turned and walked quickly to his home office, shutting the door firmly behind him. Stacy waited. She counted to 100. Then she put her book down and walked quietly to the office door. She pressed her ear against the cool wood. She heard her father on another call. His voice was softer now, trying to sound charming. A misunderstanding, I'm sure, he was saying. The poor janitor is unwell. My only concern is for the child's safety. When your people find them, please, bring the boy directly to me. I am his only family now. Stacy stepped back from the door. Her heart was beating fast. Her father was lying. She knew it. The boy on the news, Leo, was not their family. Her father had never mentioned him before today. And now he was telling the police to bring Leo to him. She went back to the living room and picked up her tablet computer. She opened a web browser and typed, "Leo Gray missing." Many news stories popped up. She clicked on one. It showed the same picture of the sad-looking boy. The story said a janitor named Joe Miller had kidnapped him. But then, at the bottom of the article, she saw a new line. Some sources within Carter Holdings claim the boy may be connected to the company's original founder, Leonard Gray. Stacy clicked on another link. This was a business news site. The headline was bigger. "Heir to Gray fortune missing?" Her eyes scanned the article. It said Leonard Gray's grandson was believed to have disappeared years ago after an accident. But a legal document had appeared today, naming Leo Gray as the true heir. And then, the boy had vanished. Stacy looked from her tablet screen to the closed office door. The boy wasn't just missing. He was the owner of her father's company, and her father was telling everyone the boy had been kidnapped. She thought about the old man, Joe. Her father had called him unwell, but her father's voice on the phone had been cruel. Asterisk. Make the problem go away. Stacy made a decision. She opened a new private browser window. She searched for Investigative Reporter New York. She found a name, Sarah Vance. She had written hard stories about powerful people. Stacy created a new secret email account. Her fingers trembled as she typed, to sarah.vance@newsnet.com. Subject, the truth about Leo Gray. My name does not matter. I know the truth about Leo Gray and Max Carter. Max Carter is my father. He is lying. Joe Miller did not kidnap Leo. My father is scared because Leo owns his company. My father stole it from Leo's grandfather a long time ago. He tore up Leo's paper to prove it. Joe is trying to protect Leo. My father told the police to bring Leo to him if they find him. Please do not let that happen. Please tell everyone the real story. She read it over. She thought about her father finding out. She felt afraid, but she thought of the boy's picture, his tired eyes. She clicked send. The next morning, Stacy was eating cereal when the large TV in the kitchen switched on by itself. It was tuned to the morning news. Her father was already in the kitchen drinking coffee. The news anchor's face was serious. "We have a major development in the search for missing 9-year-old Leo Gray. Allegations of a massive corporate fraud have now emerged, changing the entire nature of this case." Max Carter choked on his coffee. On the screen, reporter Sarah Vance stood outside the Carter Holdings building. Sources now reveal that Leo Gray is the legal heir to the Gray fortune. A document confirming this was allegedly destroyed yesterday by current CEO Max Carter, who then falsely reported the child as kidnapped to police. The camera showed Leo's picture, then a picture of Max from a company website. Max's face, watching from his kitchen, was a mask of pure shock and fury. Sarah Vance continued, her voice strong. "The police are now re-examining their search for Joe Miller and Leo Gray, not as a kidnapping, but as a missing persons case with the child potentially in grave danger from the very man who reported him missing." Max grabbed the remote and slammed his hand on the power button. The screen went black. The silence in the kitchen was terrible. He turned very slowly to look at his daughter. Stacy kept her eyes on her cereal bowl, her heart pounding in her ears. She had done it. The truth was out. The black television screen reflected Max Carter's furious face back at him. He turned his stare from the blank screen to his daughter. Stacy kept her eyes fixed on her cereal bowl, her spoon frozen halfway to her mouth. "What did you do?" Max's voice was a low, dangerous whisper. Stacy did not answer. She could not. Max did not wait. He threw the remote control onto the counter. It shattered into pieces. He stormed out of the kitchen. Stacy heard his footsteps running up the stairs to his bedroom. Her hands were shaking. She put the spoon down. Upstairs, Max was moving fast. He pulled a large suitcase from his closet. He began throwing things into it. Clothes, passports, bundles of cash from a locked drawer. His mind was racing. The news story changed everything. The police would not bring Leo to him now. They would come for him. He had one chance: run, disappear. He had money in accounts overseas. He could start over. 15 minutes later, he was dragging his suitcase down the stairs. He did not look at Stacy as he passed through the living room. "Dad?" Her small voice stopped him at the door. He turned. The look on his face was not one she had ever seen before. It was not her father. It was a scared, angry stranger. "You ruined everything," he said. Then he yanked the door open and was gone. In the garage apartment in Queens, Joe and Leo were watching a different news channel on the small television. Mr. Rivera had called them downstairs. "Look," Mr. Rivera said, pointing at the screen. The reporter, Sarah Vance, was talking. "The police have now stated they are seeking Max Carter for questioning in connection with fraud and filing a false report. The Amber Alert for Leo Gray has been canceled. Instead, the public is asked to contact authorities if they see Joe Miller or Leo Gray to ensure their safety." Leo looked at Joe. "They don't think you kidnapped me anymore?" "No, Leo," Joe said, a huge weight lifting from his chest. "They know the truth now. They know your father is the one who did something wrong." "What do we do now?" Leo asked. "We do what we should have done from the start," Joe said. "We go to the police, we give them the contract, and we go home." Max Carter sat in the back of a taxi sweating. The traffic to JFK Airport was terrible. Every police car he saw made his heart jump. "Faster!" he snapped at the driver. Finally, the airport terminals came into view. He threw cash at the driver, not waiting for change, and ran inside with his suitcase. He headed straight for the first-class check-in for a flight to Switzerland. He kept his head down. "Passport, sir?" the woman at the desk asked with a smile. Max handed it over. His hands were clammy. She typed his name into her computer. Her smile faded. She looked at the screen, then at him, then at the screen again. "Is there a problem?" Max asked, trying to sound bored. "One moment, sir. My system is slow." She picked up her phone and turned away, speaking in a low voice. Max looked around. 2 uniformed airport police officers were walking toward him. Their steps were quick and purposeful. Behind them, he saw 2 more men in plain clothes. Detectives. He took a step back, ready to run. "Max Carter?" one of the detectives called out. Max turned, but the airport police were already on either side of him. He was surrounded. "You need to come with us," the detective said. "On what charge?" Max demanded, his voice loud. "Fraud, conspiracy, filing a false police report. We have a lot to talk about." The detective held up a clear evidence bag. Inside was a plastic sleeve. Inside the sleeve was the pieced-together contract. "An old friend of yours dropped this off with the lawyer this morning. The story checks out." Max's shoulders slumped. He saw his whole life, his perfect stolen life, end right there on the shiny airport floor. He did not fight as they put handcuffs on his wrists and led him away. That evening, a black car driven by a polite policeman pulled up in front of a big old house in a quiet part of New York. Joe and Leo got out. Buddy hopped out after them. The house was dark, but the policeman turned on the lights. The rooms were big and empty, full of old furniture covered in white sheets. "This was your grandfather's house, Leo," Joe said softly. "It's yours now. The police say it's safe. Max Carter is in jail." Leo walked into the middle of the big living room. He looked up at the high ceiling. Buddy sniffed at the legs of a covered chair. "It's very big," Leo whispered. "It is," Joe said. "But you won't be alone. I'll stay here with you, if that's okay, to help." Leo looked at Joe and nodded. For the first time in a very long time, a small, real smile touched his lips. He had a home. He had Joe. He had Buddy. He thought the hard part was over. He did not know that the big, quiet house would soon have another visitor, one with a smile that did not reach his eyes and a paper that said Leo owed him everything. The big old house did not feel so empty after a week. Joe had taken the white sheets off the furniture. Leo had chosen a bedroom upstairs that was not too large. Buddy slept on a rug beside his bed. In the mornings, the sun came through the windows and made warm squares on the wooden floors. One morning, Leo and Joe were eating breakfast in the kitchen. Cereal for Leo, toast for Joe. A kind lawyer who worked for the company had come to visit the day before. He had explained many things to Leo about trusts and boards and money. Leo did not understand most of it. He just nodded. "Do I have to go to the office?" Leo asked Joe, pushing his cereal around the bowl. "Not today," Joe said. "The lawyers and the nice lady, Miss Jenkins, are taking care of things for now. You just need to be a boy. Maybe we can go to the park later." The doorbell rang. Buddy, who was lying under the table, lifted his head and gave a low growl. Joe and Leo looked at each other. The lawyer was not supposed to come today. Joe stood up. "You stay here, Leo." Joe walked through the living room to the front door. He looked through the side window. A man stood on the porch. He was older, with a white beard. He wore a nice, old-fashioned suit. He smiled when he saw Joe looking. Joe opened the door, but he did not open the screen door between them. "Can I help you?" "Good morning," the man said. His voice was warm and friendly. "My name is Iris Thorne. I am an old friend of Leonard Gray's. I just heard the wonderful news about his grandson. I had to come and pay my respects." Joe did not smile. "Mr. Gray's grandson is resting. It's not a good time." "Oh, I won't stay long," Iris Thorne said. His smile never faded. "I just have a small gift for the boy, and a letter from his grandfather. I think he would want to see it." Joe hesitated. He did not like this. But the man knew Leonard's name. He looked harmless. Joe unlocked the screen door. "A few minutes only." "Of course," Iris said, stepping inside. His eyes moved quickly around the room, looking at everything. "Ah, just as I remember it. Leonard loved this house." Leo had come to the kitchen doorway. He watched the stranger. "And this must be Leo," Iris said, walking toward him. He crouched down so he was at Leo's eye level. "You look just like your grandfather when he was young. My name is Iris. I was his very first business partner. We built things together." Leo did not say anything. He took a small step back. "I have something for you," Iris said. He pulled a small wrapped box from his pocket. "A gift for the new head of the company." Leo looked at Joe. Joe gave a small nod. Leo took the box. It was heavy. He opened it. Inside was an old, shiny pocket watch. "It's like the one your grandfather carried," Iris said. "A reminder of time and of promises." "Thank you," Leo whispered. "There is one other thing," Iris said, standing up slowly. His voice changed just a little. It was still friendly, but it was firmer. He pulled a folded paper from inside his jacket. "This is not such a happy thing, but business is business. Your grandfather and I had a deal a long time ago. He borrowed a large sum of money from me to start the company. He never paid it back." Joe moved closer. "What are you talking about?" Iris Thorne unfolded the paper. It looked very old. It had writing and a signature at the bottom. "This is a promissory note. It says Leonard Gray owed me $2,500,000, with interest over all these years. It is a very big number now. The debt passes to his heir." He looked at Leo. "That is you, young man." Leo's face went pale. He held the pocket watch tightly in his hand. "This is the first I'm hearing of any debt," Joe said, his voice hard. "Leonard was a private man," Iris said with a shrug, "and maybe a little ashamed he could not repay his old friend. But a debt is a debt. Now that the company is back in the family, I'm sure we can work this out. Leo can pay me what is owed. Or," he said, his eyes glinting, "I would be willing to take my payment in shares of the company. To be fair." Joe stepped between Iris and Leo. "You need to leave. Now." "Of course," Iris said, folding the paper neatly. He placed it on a small table by the door. "My information is on the back. Have your lawyers look it over. I will be in touch very soon." He gave them one last smile, tipped his head, and walked out the front door. The house was quiet after he left. Leo looked down at the heavy watch in his hand. Then he looked at the old paper on the table. Joe put a hand on Leo's shoulder. "Don't you worry. We don't know that paper is real. We will check it." But Joe's heart was sinking. They had just gotten rid of one enemy. Now it felt like another one had just walked right through the front door. And this one had a piece of paper that could take everything away all over again. The old debt paper lay on the hall table like a sleeping snake. Joe stared at it. He did not touch it. $2,500,000, Leo said quietly from the kitchen doorway. He had put the pocket watch down. "We don't have that." "We don't know that we need to have it," Joe said. He turned to Leo. "I knew your grandfather for many years. He was a careful man, an honest man. He would have paid a debt. He would have told me about a friend who lent him so much money. That man, Iris. I do not remember him." "He said they were partners," Leo said. Then I would remember him, Joe said firmly. A determined look came into his eyes. I am going to make some phone calls. Joe spent the rest of the morning on the old house phone. He called people who used to work for Leonard Gray. He called retired accountants. No one remembered a partner named Aris Thorne. One man said the name sounded familiar, but he could not remember why. Joe was getting frustrated. Then he remembered a name, Walter Brennan. Walter was Leonard's first lawyer, a very old man now. Joe found his number. A woman answered. Brennan residence. Hello, may I speak with Walter Brennan, please? Tell him it's Joe Miller. I worked for Leonard Gray. After a long wait, a frail, raspy voice came on the line. Joe, is that really you? It's me, Walter. I need your help. It's about Leonard's grandson, Leo. I heard. Wonderful news, Walter said, his voice full of joy. It is. But a man came to see us today. Aris Thorne. He says Leonard owed him a lot of money from the beginning. Do you know anything about that? There was a long silence on the other end. Then Walter Brennan's voice changed. It became sharp and clear. Aris Thorne, that snake, he is still alive. You know him? Joe asked, his grip tightening on the phone. I know him, Walter said. He was not a partner, he was an investor. He put a little money into Leonard's first store, but he was greedy. He tried to force Leonard into bad deals. Then we caught him. He was stealing from the company bank account. Leonard was furious. He forced Aris out. He paid him back every single penny of his original investment to make him go away. There was no debt, only a settlement, and a promise from Aris to never come back. Joe felt a rush of anger and relief. He has a paper, a promissory note for $2,500,000. Walter Brennan let out a dry laugh. A fake. It has to be. Leonard would have never signed such a thing. I have the old files, Joe. The real papers. I have the settlement agreement that Aris signed. It says all matters between them are finished. I keep everything. I can get them for you. We need those papers, Walter, as fast as you can. I will have my granddaughter drive them to you today, Walter said. You protect that boy, Joe. Aris Thorne is a vulture. He sees a young boy alone and thinks he can steal everything. Don't let him. Joe hung up the phone. He walked into the living room where Leo was sitting with Buddy. Well? Leo asked, looking up. The paper is a fake, Joe said, sitting down next to him. Aris Thorne was a thief. Your grandfather kicked him out. He paid him back all the money he was owed a long time ago. An old lawyer friend has the real papers to prove it. He's bringing them here. Leo's shoulders relaxed, but then he frowned. But he will still say we owe him. He has the fake paper. People might believe him. Then we have to make sure people know the truth, Joe said. We have to show everyone what kind of man he really is. We can't hide. We have to fight. Leo looked at the pocket watch on the table. The gift felt ugly now, a trick. What do we do? We take his fake paper, Joe said. And we take our real papers and we go to a judge. We tell the judge the whole story. We let the judge decide. Leo was quiet for a minute. He petted Buddy's head. Will I have to talk? Only if you want to, Joe said gently. The papers will do most of the talking. Leo thought about his grandfather. He never knew him, but Joe said he was brave and honest. Leo wanted to be like that. I'll talk, Leo said, his small voice firm. I'll tell the judge about my grandpa. I'll tell him Aris is a liar. Joe put his arm around Leo's shoulders. Then that's what we'll do. They had the truth. Now they just had to make the whole world see it. Judge Henderson was a serious woman with glasses. She looked at the people in her courtroom. On one side sat Aris Thorne, smiling politely. On the other side sat Leo, Joe, and their lawyer, Miss Jenkins. Mr. Thorne, the judge said, you claim that Leonard Gray owed you a substantial debt, a debt that this boy now owes you. That is correct, Your Honor, Aris said. His voice was full of respect. He held up his old-looking paper. This promissory note is clear, a business debt, unpaid for decades. I am only asking for what is legally owed to me. The judge turned to Miss Jenkins. And you contest this? We do, Your Honor, Miss Jenkins said. We believe this document is a forgery, a fraud designed to take advantage of a child. Aris shook his head sadly. I am an old man. I was a friend to his grandfather. This is very hurtful. The judge looked at Leo. Young man, Do you have anything you wish to say? Everyone looked at Leo. He was very small in the big chair. He glanced at Joe. Joe nodded. Leo stood up. His hands were clenched at his sides. My grandpa was a good man, Leo said. His voice started as a whisper, but it grew stronger. Joe told me. He was honest. He helped people. He would not pay a debt. He would not lie. Leo pointed a finger at Aris Thorne. That man is a liar. He gave me a watch to make me like him, but it was a trick. He wants to take my grandpa's company. He wants to take my home. Aris's friendly smile finally slipped. Your Honor, the emotions of a child. Mr. Thorne, please be quiet, Judge Henderson said. She looked at Joe. Mr. Miller, you have evidence? Joe stood up. He held a folder. Yes, Your Honor. From Walter Brennan. He was Leonard Gray's lawyer. He opened the folder and handed 2 papers to the court officer, who gave them to the judge. The first paper, Joe said, is the settlement agreement from 42 years ago. It says Aris Thorne was paid back in full for his initial investment. It says he agreed to leave the company. It says all financial matters between them are finished. You will see Mr. Thorne's signature. The judge looked at the old paper. She nodded. The second paper, Joe continued, is a letter. From Leonard Gray to Mr. Brennan, dated the same year. Joe's voice was strong and clear. In the letter, Leonard writes that he discovered Aris Thorne stealing company money. He writes that Thorne is a dishonest man and to never do business with him again. Aris Thorne jumped to his feet. Those are lies. That letter is fake. Sit down, Mr. Thorne, the judge said sharply. She looked at both papers for a long time. She compared the signature on the settlement to the signature on the debt note. She looked at the dates. The room was silent. Finally, Judge Henderson looked up. Mr. Thorne, the signature on your promissory note does not match the signature on the settlement agreement. The ink and paper of your note do not appear to be 40 years old. The story told by Mr. Gray's letter matches the facts presented by Mr. Miller. She took off her glasses. I find your claim to be fraudulent. You have attempted to defraud a minor child. This court dismisses your claim in full. Furthermore, I am referring this matter to the district attorney for criminal prosecution. Court officers, please take Mr. Thorne into custody. 2 officers walked to Aris Thorne. His face was red with rage and fear. You can't do this, it's mine. It was always supposed to be mine. But no one listened. They put handcuffs on his wrists and led him away. He was still shouting as the door closed behind him. It was over. A few weeks later, Leo and Joe were walking Buddy in the big park near the house. The leaves were turning orange and red. The lawyers say everything is settled now, Joe said. For real this time. Leo threw a stick. Buddy ran after it, his tail wagging. What about all the money and the company? It's all yours, in a trust until you are older. Good people will run it. You can just be a boy. Leo thought about this. He thought about being alone and scared. He thought about other kids who might be feeling that way right now. I don't want to just be a boy, Leo said. Joe looked at him surprised. I want to help. Can we use some of the money to help kids who don't have a home, or food, or a friend like Buddy? Joe smiled. It was a big, warm smile. I think that is a wonderful idea, Leo. I think your grandfather would love that idea very much. Leo smiled back. He felt light. He felt safe. He had a home. He had Joe. He had Buddy. He did not have to be afraid anymore. The sun was warm on their faces as they walked along the path, the dog running happily ahead, leading them into the rest of their lives.